Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Welcome to Life Planning 101. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group in the big town of Eastland, Texas, and we are so happy to have all of our listeners each and every week. We pray that we give good information, good education to help you live life on purpose. That is the name of the game, and today is no exception. We are going to start with a retirement nightmare. Yeah, it doesn't sound like living life on purpose. In fact, just the sound of that kind of makes you clench your teeth, doesn't it? Like, oh, that's just retirement nightmare. And, I think today people are kind of thinking, do I have a retirement nightmare? It's a scary time to be a retiree or to be retired. It's no longer the only people happy on Monday are retirees. Well, no, the market's open on Monday, so they're watching their money and they're wondering what's going to happen and listening to the Fed and listening to the inflation reports and going to the grocery store. Their pocketbook hurts a little bit more, and that's a reality that we're living in, and it's not supposed to be that way, right? It is supposed to be every retiree is happy on Monday. It's a dream. It's your golden years. You work so hard to get there, and it is a dream come true, right? Yeah, it is a scary time to be retired. It's a scary time to be retiring. It's a scary time to be thinking about retiring. It is a scary time to retire early. It is a scary time to retire late. Retirement equals scary at this moment. Inflation. I know everybody knows that word. In fact, I've been talking to young people, and used to, when you talk to young people about what inflation was, they had no idea what you were talking about. It was this myth, this legend, this thing of the past. And in fact, a lot of young retirees thought the same thing. You know, we would put together a plan and talk to them about what it really meant. And it's almost like they didn't believe yet that this could really happen. And we're living in it, right? The cost of living is going up everywhere. And if you're a retiree and you're worried about future healthcare costs, that's even worse. And the market's not seeming to help with any of this offsetting cost. In fact, it's going the opposite direction as of late. So you've got these two competing forces. What do you do? Is there end in sight? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no one knows. You know, there's a lot of cards at play here. We have the war in Ukraine. We have tensions with China. We have Iran, the terrorist groups. I mean, you name it. Our heated political environment is crazy. It is resulting in this country swinging back and forth like a pendulum every couple of years. And, I don't even have to tell you all this. I mean, everybody is aware of what is going on in our world. And it is a very scary time. It's a time that we're thinking about, what do we need to be doing about our futures? What do we need to be doing for our children? What do we need to be doing with our own selves? Should we be raising chickens and having cows to milk in our backyard? I mean, I've literally heard these questions time and again. And I think if I were just now trying to think about retirement for the first time, I'd be thinking, is that really a wise idea at this time? If I was someone that didn't know anything about what I know about this industry and retirement and what that means for people. So this is a real deal. The retirement nightmare. We're always asking a question. Are you sleeping at night? And if the answer is that you're not sleeping at night, why? What is keeping you awake? And, we always talk in life planning world that your money should be the tool to help you live life on purpose. Yet it becomes a curse when it's the thing that we worry about. It's the thing that keeps us awake at night. And yes, there is a lot of scary things in the world today. There is a lot of things going on that are out of our control. And of course, there's some good things too. And the media isn't going to talk to you about that. They're not going to tell you about those things. But believe it or not, they're out there. There is positive news about our economy that you don't hear. We're still hiring as a country. People still can't find workers, good workers. Companies are still profitable. And opportunity is still out there to be found, but you don't hear those things, right? You just hear all the negative things. But I digress. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about this nasty little inflation, what's going on in the world, and what's the future of our retirement investments, and the fear of running out of money, the fear of running out of income in retirement is more real than it has been in years. Do you know, if you Google, like literally Google, what is the number one financial regret of people? And most people, it is not saving enough for retirement. Interestingly enough, if you Google what is the number one fear in retirement, running out of money. Coincides, doesn't it? So here's all these uncontrollables. Yet when you boil down to the heart of the matter, is that it's almost like it's self-inflicted that we're relying on those uncontrollables. Nonetheless, it's not a time to bury your head in the sand. So what I want to do on Life Planning 101 today is, I'm not going to give you, as Joel Osteen, I heard him say, we live in a microwave age. Everybody wants to pop something in the microwave and get it out quickly. So in other words, we want to say, I want to retire and have a plan and be ready to do it and everything work out perfect, right? We want to be able to pop in our investments and say, they're going to work out perfect, right? No. You can't bury your head in the sand today. So what I want to do is when we come back on Life Planning 101, I want to talk about a little bit more about actually your retirement money. And then we're going to talk about the retirement what you need to be doing, because we've talked about a lot of uncontrollables, but I want to be talking about what is controllable in this environment. What can you put your hands on, work on, and help you, so to speak, turn those retirement nightmares back into retirement dreams, and you're getting a good night's rest. You're not going to want to miss this right here on Life Planning 101 when we come back. Welcome back to Life Planning 101. Today we are talking about the retirement nightmare. But before I go to that, let's go to the golf course. Let's have a good reason to get a good night's sleep, right? So 3 retirees, they've got hearing loss, all of them. They're playing golf on a one fine spring day, and one said to the other, "Windy, isn't it?" And the second one said, "No, it's Thursday." And then the third one chimed in, "So am I. Let's have a beer." I love that. So I'm always looking up jokes before we get on the show, and I get myself tickled. It's always fun. But, isn't that true? Isn't that what we want to worry about in retirement, is just all those little jokes that they make about retirees, and we can actually be that person. We can actually sit on our front porch and bark at people and be the people that people make jokes about, right? That's the retirement dream. I mean, you work so hard to have those golden years. I always imagine if my husband croaks over, I'm going to have a group of friends and we are going to be the Golden Girls. Absolutely love that show, but I digress. But, we're talking today about that retirement nightmare and how real that is with inflation, how real that is with this fear of running out of money in retirement in this world that we're living in. And, if you think you're taking what's perceived as no risk with your retirement funds, your cash, your investments, you maybe have CDs, you say, well, they're paying interest rates. Well, if you have an interest rate, it's paying you 2% and inflation is 8%. Well, really, you're losing 6% on your money. That's no good. And that's what we call kind of going broke safely. Yes, your money's never going to be able to survive inflation if that happens. And on the flip side, you can be taking all the risk in the world. You could even be taking the right amount of risk that you need to be taking in your portfolio, and you still run out of money. Did you hear that? Yeah, we all deserve the return we get, and there's a certain risk that gets a certain reward, but it's not all about your investments. And I think this is where people go totally wrong when they walk into retirement, and they're so focused on what their investments are doing. They're so focused on what the return is doing. They're so focused on what their cash is doing, how much they have, what they feel comfortable with. And all of that is an emotional mixture, an emotional recipe. Well, when have emotions ever created a recipe for financial success? You remember that first time you wanted that car so bad, or you wanted that house so bad, or that blank, you fill in the blank, right? The boat. That's always a good one. The boat. How financially successful did that end up for you, right? We all have these regrets that we have in life, and your retirement, you only get one chance to get this right. And if you mess that up, what do you do then? We're always telling people, we haven't lived your life and we're not retired, but we have lived retirement with our clients for over 30 years. We've done it time and time again. It's not our first rodeo. And I'm here to tell you that your investments and your cash are the tools that are going to help with your retirement. They're extremely large components and they're very important. It is very important that you get your risk right and you're maximizing your dollars. You know what needs to be in your lifestyle bucket. You know what needs to be in your contingency bucket, that backup plan. And you know what is left over for someone or something else so that you can have every dollar working the way it needs to work and everything be maximized. And I do not question that. But how do you know what needs to be in those buckets? How do you know what you need in that lifestyle bucket? How do you know what you need in that backup plan? How do you know if there is a dollar that's going to be left over for someone or something else? And so many people walk off into retirement without knowing any of that. So I'll never forget this. When I was a young advisor, I am a young advisor, I like to think so, but when I was a younger advisor, starting out, I actually got to meet with my grandmother for the first time as an advisor. It was a pretty special day for me to be able to do that. And when I get to meet with her, she pulls out this green ledger. Does anybody remember those green ledgers? Everybody used to have them. You kept your books, you kept everything in them, right? And she had this green ledger. Well, it looked like it was about to fall apart. It was a little rugged, and that was because it was. So she had been retired for a couple decades, and she had retired with my granddad. My granddad had passed away. She had already remarried, but her discipline that she created before her retirement with my granddad had never changed. She kept her retirement budget recorded in that book for every month of every year. And she had a great retirement. She had a bucket list. And she knocked off items quicker than anybody. I mean, this is my grandmother that would drive 90 miles an hour with me down the highway. And I just look at her. She just giggle. I'll never forget, she got a second hole in her ears when she was about 70 years old. She'd take me to George Strait concerts. She loved music festivals and she loved to travel. And she did it all. She really had a very successful retirement and she lived successfully. And you know what? She never worried about running out of money. Not because she had a lot of it. She didn't. She didn't have a lot of it. Her and my granddad had both worked, 8 to 5 jobs, and they had some pension money. They had some Social Security, and then they had some investments, but there wasn't a lot of it. But they knew what they had. They knew this. I was thinking about you go in the mall, and when you go in the mall, and you don't know where you're at, you go to the map in the middle, right? What's the first thing you look for on that map? You are here. Right? You are here. I was telling this to someone yesterday. And if you don't know where you're at, how useful is that map? Well, it's maybe useful, but you still got to look, okay, well, I got to find, because everything, it's not written like this is Dillard's. You got to find what the code is for Dillard's, and it takes a long time to figure that out. And you might even still get it wrong because you get segued, sidetracked, whatever it is, right? So this isn't the truth when you have a budget, though. A budget is you are here. People get this wrong. They think budget, restrict. I need a budget, or they're going to make me stick to my budget. It's budget. It's like a dirty word. Is the furthest thing from a dirty word. It is the you are here stamp. It is the most valuable financial tool you will have all of your life. It doesn't matter if you're starting out. It doesn't matter if you're in your peak earning years, you're sending your kids off to school, and you're an empty nester and trying to save those last dollars for retirement. You're in your early retirement, you're in your late retirement. It doesn't matter. It is the most valuable tool you have because it says this: you are here. How valuable is that? Can I afford to buy that vehicle? You are here. Oh, well, I guess maybe if I move that around, move this around, I can afford it. Can I afford that mortgage payment to do that remodel? I do this and I do this and yeah. Oh, I got that. That's in my you are here, right? Why don't we use that Man, we live in this microwave age. That is the best thing I've heard Joel Osteen say. It relates to what we do because everybody wants this instantaneous success. I mean, even apps budget for you, but really how useful is that? Because you really don't know. It just categorizes it. You can't really tell what you're spending and where the dollars are going. And you need to know that. Even if you only do it once a year, even if you only do it, every quarter, whatever it is, but you need to go back and see where your dollars are going so you know that you are here. And having that is the biggest peace of mind that anything will give you. But that's not it. There's more to the story. So when we come back on Life Planning 101, I'm going to give you another very valuable tool so you can get rid of any retirement nightmares. And you can go back to those retirement dreams. Because after all, living life on purpose. Don't we all want to do that? Don't miss it right here on Life Planning 101 when we come back. Welcome back to Life Planning 101. My name is Angela Robinson with Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services here in the great town of Eastland, Texas. God bless everyone. I tell you, we live in a day and age that you just appreciate life a little bit more every single day when you see the world around us in such hurt. And I just feel so blessed to be able to do this show each and every week. And our goal is just to help people really have some knowledge, have some information that can give them tools so they can gain themselves a peace of mind. And today is no exception for that. We are talking about this real retirement nightmare that is happening right before our eyes with inflation going crazy. We've got, just a world that's going crazy and people are fearful. And what can you do about it? Because those are intangibles that you can't control. And everybody wants to look at their investments and make them do something that you can't make them do, or look at their cash and make it keep up with inflation. And you can't do that either, right? So what can you do? And I think a lot of this it's really self-inflicted because, go back to those Google scenarios I mentioned earlier. If you Google what is the number one fear of retirement, fear of running out of money. If you Google what is the biggest financial regret, and most of the time at the top of the Google search is not saving enough for retirement. Well, they go hand in hand, right? And here we are worried about all the uncontrollables when there are controllables. So let that be a lesson to the young people. If you are listening to the show, save more, increase your savings, especially during a downturn. My goodness, this is the best time in the world is when you're buying things on sale in your 401k plan, investments, otherwise, right? But if you're retiring, if you're soon to be retiring, if you're retired, if you're retiring late, retiring early, this is for you. This is what we're talking about. And if you've missed this first part of the show, please go back and listen. Of course, you can access us on www.kennedy-financial.com. Sign up for our weekly life lessons. Obviously, the podcasts are all there, but we also have one or two articles that we coin every week. Black and White Market Chatter is available on every Friday with our very own CFA, Aaron Kennedy, and CFP, Matt Irvin. And they do a great job talking about what's going on in the markets today. And, here we are, talking about going into retirement, and you rely totally on your money and you don't even know what you're relying on it for. Because we mentioned before the show, the important thing is having that you are here. This is what you need to do, right? Having a budget. And likewise, you need a plan. So you've got a budget, you are here, but what is your plan for retirement? What are your goals? What are the things that you want to accomplish? And then what are those things that could happen? We talked earlier in the show about, you got to have a lifestyle bucket that fills up for your budget, right? But then you got to have this contingency bucket, this backup plan. What if something goes wrong? And who's helping you identify what can go wrong? Those are really big pieces of this. And I think if you go into retirement without a budget and without a plan, it's the equivalent of being dropped in the middle of a forest with no map and no idea of where you're going, where you need to go, or no understanding of you are here, correct? No coordinates. Think about that. That is really an equivalent. It's a perfect equivalent. And when you really start to make that resemblance, you say, why would anyone ever want to get dropped in the middle of the forest with no idea of where they are, where they need to go, and no map? Yet people retire every single day without a budget and without a plan. And you know what the result is? They're scared. Fear. Makes sense, doesn't it? So when we think of all these fears that are intangible around us, they're real. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want to discount them because they're important. And, that's why we have a whole investment team dedicated to research and what we can do about those threats to your retirement. But the bigger threat here is you not having a budget, not having a plan, because how can we ever know what your dollars need to be doing if we don't know what it's for? So your incomes, your investments, they're critical components. And you can spend all the time in the world maximizing income, investing for success, and still go broke. Why? Because you didn't build that foundation. It's important. So here I've got a challenge for you. Number 1, slow down. Slow down. You have to make this your priority. I know. Busy. I'm so busy in retirement. I don't know how I worked before. I get that all the time. I get it. But you have to make this your priority. Again, you're getting dropped in the forest. How important is it that you're prepared? You're in survival mode, right? It's like the show. Number 2, find the You Are Here marker. Build your budget. What do you spend? Every penny. Where does it go? Spend some time here. Don't do an app. You really need to spend some time because it's going to be so valuable. I can't even explain to you as you start to dig in, but you need to know where your dollars are going for everything. And you may not have that green ledger like my grandmother did, but Excel spreadsheets work pretty dang good here. So take some time to do that and do it with your spouse. So you work on it together. And then last but not least is get a plan and maintain it. Yes, you need an experienced expert here. Like I mentioned, we have been working with people for over 30 years. It is not our first rodeo. And there is no possible way for you to retire the first time and think of all the caveats, know all the what ifs, know all the necessary tools to help you accomplish your goals. There's a such thing in Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, right? 10,000 hours to mastery. Well, it can pay off in folds with the tiniest tweak to your retirement plan. It's huge. So it doesn't matter if you're retired. It doesn't matter if you're retiring early, retiring late, or just thinking about retirement. Every retiree can battle the retirement nightmare, the fear of running out of money, if you just do these simple steps. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not like setting expectations and making a promise. It's not going to mean you get everything you want and it's this perfect dream come true. But I want to ask you this. How much is it worth to know you are here? To know this is what is possible, this is what is not. This is what I can do, this is what I can't. This is how I can have a successful retirement and stay successfully retired, right? To me, I think it's worth a dang good night's sleep, and that's worth a lot. So my name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group in Eastland, Texas. God bless each and every one of you, and join us next week on Life Planning 101, always bringing you information to live life on purpose.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Don't forget to learn how our sister company can assist you with all of your tax, bookkeeping, and consulting needs. You can find out more at briscoeandassociates.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.